What's popular? YouTube, another day, another demo. Another year, actually. 2024. Welcome back from Christmas break. I'd just like to say, I hope you guys all had a wonderful time. If you had family to spend it with, I hope that you made sure to cherish every moment. If you had friends to play games with, I hope you enjoyed that time off. If you didn't have either of those things, I still hope you had some time to reflect and just relax. Sometimes we work too hard, and it is really good when you have the privilege to take the time off to really try to do so. I know I find it hard to just stop for a second, but either way, we are here to start a new year. And I'd like to start by asking you up front, what content do you want to see this year? Okay, before we start the news, I would just like to say we're still going to do demo reviews. We're still going to do news videos. But thinking about the content that I love doing, those are the top two things probably. And then everything else, I want to try to bring back, like some of the commentary green screen videos with the crazy edits in the background. Want to do that. Is there anything new? Because I usually take the beginning of the year to think about new formats for videos, stuff that I can do that's low lift, right? Stuff that I can do in one day, stuff that I can record and just hand over to Vivid to do, more work on the editing, so it fits my traveling schedule. That's how I maintain a YouTube channel while also traveling for casting and everything. So I need sort of ideas that are really good like that. Like I took the beginning, of the year, the last time around, to come up with demo reviews. One player, one half, one demo, and then did demo reviews and then the commentary video. So ideas like that are what I'm looking for. But let me know what you liked seeing, what you'd like to see more of, and let's talk. So, okay. Thank you guys so much for being here. Wonderful to start the year with you again. We did the new site is up on the boxr site, of course. We have the bonus room here with some very exclusive limited merchandise. The spray necklaces that we made will be in stock again at the beginning of next month. Club shirts are only available here. I had some people message me and ask how they get access to the bonus room. Well, you'll be invited. So when you log in, make an account. First of all, you can see your whole order history, even going back to 2017, which is awesome. But if you log in, make an account, and you have some order history, then you'll have a higher chance of getting invited to the bonus room. But I don't want to see everybody in this necklace. I won't lie to you. So if you have access, congrats. If you don't, I'm sure it'll be coming soon. Here is the main shop. We'll have restocks coming in on February 1st. But yeah, it was great to make this new website. Shout out to Jesper. It's basically me, Jesper Taylor, doing everything right now. And Ramo made this video, and the site's looking fantastic. It's feeling great. It's really been really fun to make all this stuff. So, okay. Love making clothes. Oh, also, by the way, if you log in, you get 5 free votes every month. And if you vote, then the most voted for item will be brought back at the next restock. So in this case, February 1st. And I believe the current winner is the Floating World hoodie and cement by like five or less votes. Like it was very close. And there was a couple other very highly voted items. This is a very awesome thing that we brought to give us some idea of what people want to see bringing back. And you get the votes for free if you log in, and you get the account for free if you go ahead and make one. So just, that's all that. All right. In some other news, I did Launders Land, Fragfest, Toronto Land with Rivalry. They put down $5,000. We did a BYOC at the Red Bull Gaming Studio in Toronto. It was incredible. We had some tech delays and stuff like that, but wouldn't be a local land without them. The team won first place. And then we got Darius's team, Pendulum, and the boys came in second. The A team destroyed them in the finals. They had an incredible run. There's some very, very, very cool moments from here. And the whole thing was streamed on my Twitch channel. You can still go and watch those VODs. And shout out to everybody that came through. Jean-Claude, the Golden Hand, got to mention him. And it was a lot more competitive than I thought it was going to be, because what happened was, at first the land was $2,500 CAD, and then I made a Reddit post because we weren't getting a lot of signups, and then we doubled it to 5,000 CAD thanks to Rivalry. If you're in Ontario, use Rivalry. They're another one of my sponsors, just not for YouTube. That's why I don't talk about them here. But they're another sponsor I'm very proud to work with. And they actually help me run a local LAN, which is just just an amazing thing being able to do this at the local level in Toronto. I'm trying to put Toronto on. You know, immediately, like I got messages to run events in other places, and I would love to do those, but I really want to put Toronto on first. That's what I want to make is my motive. So I used to play in all the Toronto lands, like 4 of them a year, and we need to bring those back. So yeah, congratulations to them for winning. That was great. Here, the Ace Zone. I brought a couple of my Ace Zone headphones so you can listen, okay?
Thanks, Launders, for letting me borrow these goated headphones. Okay.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let me...
Thanks, Launders, for letting me borrow these goated headphones. Okay. I can't afford these right now because they're like 1,000.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get the cheaper ones with the Launders 10 code.
Launders 10 code, that's
Shout
right.
out Launders for this land.
All right.
Our team went quarters. We're good.
There we go.
That's all we can hope for.
No, he needed headphones. I gave him the Ace Zones, all right? Yeah, but they're actually good.
Insane, bro. Because I have open ears, but like these are like, a different beast.
So he came to me and he was like, I need headphones. Do you have any more Ace Zones?
No,
Literally.
because the team in front of us said they let someone borrow. You let someone borrow it.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I might have to ask. But Launders was eating his Big Mac or something, so I was scared. But then I was like, I'm gonna be a big boy and ask him.
That's right.
It's a land.
It pays off, baby. That's how you get quarters.
Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, yeah, that was a funny moment. I just muted, and there was a second ad.
Everything. Noise cancellation is perfect. You hear every single step like you're at home. It's crazy. I'm in line. People scream.
By the way, both these guys just walked into me, and then I said, come back, let me record a video of you giving me them, because it was such an organic, like, yo, these headphones are insane. And they both use different pairs. These are the Aspires, the ones that I use at home, that I recommend everyone use for home.
Screaming everywhere. I barely fucking hear them. This is perfect. Please buy a zone code Launders. How much percent off?
Launders 10.
Launders 10% off. Greatest code in the world. Buy it right now. I heard everything.
And they came back and they shilled so hard, but the honest, genuine reaction was honestly priceless. I wish they just came through with that. But either way, what a success. I mean, it was such a cool thing. Like, we had this team here that had my face as their photos. I think shout out to Durham College is what it was. You had people wearing boxer merch at the LAN. It's a black club tees here. Came through from the watch party. And yeah, man, it was something special. Just being able to watch people play CS2 on LAN in Toronto, like the dream. And shout out to Ping and Parks for coming through to cast it. They made this made this a lot more possible. I couldn't leave the room if they weren't here, basically. So they were great to work with. And the next LAN we're going to do, because this sold out, we had 105 players waitlisted to get to this LAN. 105 players waitlisted. Okay, 20 full teams waitlisted after selling out 16 teams and all the spectator passes. So that's how much interest there was here. So the next one's going to be bigger. It's going to be more rivalry. Extremely happy about it. And that's all I got. I talked the hell up out of this LAN. Is big piece of news for me. I did this on January 6th just recently. Maybe if we do that again, we call it Storm the LAN or something. I don't know. It's a funny date. All right. So the 11th. So today is the 10th right now. And we're going to go over some news for January. That's still January news. That just happened right after the break. Okay. All right. But some of you may not have heard about that. So why don't we talk about some stuff that's happening right now? All right. So Cypher rounds out Bleed's lineup. This is Kassad's team, which is why it's a particular interest, I think, to the societal consciousness in Counter-Strike. Okay. Why we want to know, because Kassad had a tweet, or he's got some pretty epic tweets these days where he said, got to put my money where my mouth is. I'm becoming a coach and apparently like a general manager as well, because he's also making these signings and doing the dealings himself. So we look at this roster, and this is a roster of players that you would sign if you've been watching a lot of CS and probably don't have enough money to perform phase level buyouts, which is like, how do they even have money? But to buy other players who are in active contracts, right? This is basically a misfits sort of lineup. I mean that with all due respect. This is like the best way to get players from the bench that could potentially do something together and revise some careers, right? Like I made this tweet about a joke about how Shuhei could revitalize a team that had Kusta, Croman, Junior, and himself and Mihu, I think, on it. You know what I mean? Like, they're names that you know are good, have been good at some point in their career, or are newer, and we're looking for something better for them. So Cypher's coming over from TSM, LAUNDERS from Falcons, Favin, of course, from Big, Cirque from almost obscurity, I would just like to say, but I know that he's a particular favorite for Kassad. And I like him getting a second chance. He was grinding CS2 and Hampus as well. I mean, he can't be done yet, right? He's basically the best IGL out of Sweden in, since I don't even know. There's not been many IGLs out of Sweden, so he's got this special sort of identity, I think, in the scene. But getting cut from NIP a second time, and whatever, that roster is, that organization's honestly pretty much a hellhole. So not surprised that he got out of that. But this, ragtag group of guys, basically, let's see what they can do. They haven't survived in the qualifiers just yet. I think they lost in the first one, a pretty bad loss, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I can just actually go to Notes Twitter. I think he had a tweet about Bleed. And motherfucker's tweeting more than me. Okay. Tweeting more than me. No, I don't know. Okay, let's look at Kassad's Twitter, actually. We're in the flow state right now, okay? So, signed, joined GG Bleed here. 2 more chances. They got eliminated from the first one. Okay. And yeah, well, we'll stay in touch with the results for Bleed, but for now they got eliminated from the first qualifier. Didn't go too good. And with Cypher as the most recent pickup, I think he had kind of a bad match and a bad qualifier overall so far. They need to get good fast, right? This team was assembled pretty impressively in terms of how fast it was put together, and then without like a lot of players stepping on each other's toes in terms of roles and things like that. So I think there's a good sort of balance for how quickly they signed this team. But, are Bleed going to be a team that win a major? Not with this lineup. No, not a chance. There's no chance. There's literally no chance, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't cheer for them if they achieve better than you expect them to. That's sort of the bar, I think, for whether or not you should cheer for a team. My bar for cheering for a team is whether or not they can win a tournament. So I'm not quite as invested, I would say. But I think that if a team exceeds expectations, that's when they've probably got your interest, right? Someone's interest, especially people who like underdogs. This is just some news today about the Paris stickers earning and exceeding $110 million for the teams and players that played and got challengers or above, who basically got a sticker at the Paris Major. Now, I would say the couple things that are interesting here is I believe that this is more in stickers than I think was. It was more in stickers than. So obviously the highest earning major in terms of how much money was generated from stickers. But the thing is that the Paris Major stickers stayed on the market for multiple months, and there was no second major of the year. So there's no competition in this year to try to measure them up against each other. And we learned that basically having them on the store for as long as they did just generated more money. Who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it? So, but this ended up being, I think, something where Blast have looked at this and not had exposure to major sticker earnings. A lot of teams got to see sort of the real power of stickers. I think this sort of headline is really attractive to teams that might want to come into the scene, like let's say 100 Thieves, or we see NRG just came in to try to make a run for this RMR. There are a lot of teams that have now looked at the CS model for how to generate income as if you qualify to a major and you get stickers, you're in business. So it's very much a meritocracy in the sense that, and especially if you're, in North America or one of these weaker regions and you steal a spot, they have less chances to get into the major, but they also have far weaker competition. If you can put together a good enough team, you can make money that will keep you afloat for a long time. Like, I almost thought it was silly that Bad News Eagles signed to Guild. I mean, it's cool for them to be able to do that, but they qualified to 2 majors back to back without an org. They didn't have any cut from their sticker money taken. So it's just kind of unreal how much money they made. And especially for some of these players who are in countries that, they're like, low tax rates, are very affordable. Like, you're killing it. You're going to be able to retire basically if you just qualify to 1 major. So yeah, I think this is a very good thing overall for CS. And I also like that, eventually we abolish the partner teams, which I initially was against that. I really thought, okay, it's too much anarchy to have all partner teams abolished. And if we do that, then we're never going to have consistent results and we're not going to have any good storylines and stuff. But I actually don't think that's true anymore. And I'm glad that we're going full merit going into 2025 and 2026. And I knowing from talking to Blast, at least, who are the company I spend more time with, getting to hear some of their conversations, they're happy. Like, they're excited about what's coming. And they would have been a company hit pretty hard by not being able to get any money from the teams that sort of partner with them. They also expanded to 16 teams this year, but this will be the last year while you still have partners, basically. So, okay. Liquid and NRG had a fantastic run online. Been watching Maui's stream. Shout out to Maui's stream for the RMRs just recently. And Liquid looked fantastic. NRG looked fantastic. Yakinder's shots were on point. NRG were pretty much cleaning up, no problem. Impossible to say how good they are because they didn't face any staunch competition. So it's still too early. But at the same time, I've seen enough. Liquid are the best team in the world. This major is ours, baby. Okay, so that's a nice sign at the very least. Liquid and NRG are through to the closed qualifier, of course. The qualifier to the qualifier to the qualifier to the qualifier to the major final, right? Secret return to pick up a roster. I didn't actually look at this one too much. I am very happy, though, to see Maze on this team. Maze is somebody from the Academy League that I have been shouting out. I'm happy to see him playing alongside players like Innocent. I think Maze, hopefully, as the IGL. I don't know if he would be on this team because I'm not familiar with everyone else's roles. I believe in Maze as an IGL in the same way that I believe in Shuhei. Now, I can't give him as big of a shout out, but I think if you give him some time and space and some control, I think he can make a team very good. So I'm looking forward to seeing this story potentially. Kind of a cool pickup for me for Spirit to come into the scene. Welcome back. On some NA news, more NA news, Nouns add Junior and George. Okay, this was at the tail end of 2023. And this means that B-Wills and Cynic are off the roster, which is pretty unexpected. Now, at the same time, Cynic was a high output opper, but Junior's still a better opper. And George is a better fragger overall, but I actually don't know who's calling now. And I'm not sure if someone else is calling already on this team, but it's an interesting spot. I think Nouns are a company. They're like the one NFT company I think everyone can appreciate. I guess I want to put it like that. I'm someone who understands this space definitely better than others. So I will say I have a particularly fondness for Nouns overall, but they're a DAO, which means that they have people vote on whether or not they execute on proposals. And the one for esports passed with flying colors. Like it was 114 for and 11 against, which means that they're funding esports for Nouns to have both a Dota team, a CS team, I think a Smash player signed to the lineup, like really cultured stuff, okay? Like Valve games and Dead games, you know what I mean? Like beautiful. You love to see that. I need a pair of Noggles for myself. I've always wanted a Noun, actually. That was actually a dream of mine. I used to come and check out the Noun of the day and think, wow, I can't afford this. So much cheaper now, though, but still a bit too much. Okay, so yeah, Nouns 2024, they made this beautiful proposal. Shout out to them. Glad to see them helping out with Dota in North America as well as Counter-Strike in North America. It's the org support that will do a lot for esports in North America in general. So very much support it. Love their logo. Love the Nouns themselves. And yeah, this is a very well written proposal. So shout out to everybody who helped contribute to this, and congratulations on getting it through. Walco is a player that I would have liked to see as an IGL, even though he tweeted this: Lord of the Rings is overrated. The Hobbit is way better. If you disagree, you're just old. You know, I really take offense to that. I am old. I'm 33. I read Lord of the Rings and watched it when I was 12 years old. The first one. I rewatched it recently. Okay. On my business class flight to Abu Dhabi. That was 14 hours long. I watched the entire trilogy, and I just have to say, you're young. How about that, son? Okay, you don't know what it smells like in the Sistine Chapel. So why don't you keep it to yourself, Walco? I'm cheering for you in CS, but you know, why don't you stick to tweeting? I'm just kidding. Stay in your lane. No, I'm just kidding. That's toxic. Walco, I would love to see Walco as an IGL. Would have been cool to see him on Nouns. After following EG, because he's one of the players that has suffered from the fallout. But I think when I watched him calling for Junior on EG Black, he was calling really strong rounds. Individually, he could be better, but what IGL couldn't, right? So, all right, we can close that out. If you want to stay in the know about the qualifiers and the PGL major for CS2 major progress, you can check out challengermode.com and click on Counter-Strike 2, and you can even have access to all the GoTV IPs to watch yourself. Some people are streaming them as well on Twitch and hopefully YouTube. And yeah, Autimatic has announced that he will be grinding Valorant for fun on his break. I don't know. I think he's open to anything, whether it's CS or Valorant overall. A lot of people know Autimatic is their favorite teammate. Stico called him most well-rounded and complete teammate he's ever played with. It would be sad to lose him, and he's always been extremely loyal to all the teams that he's played to. As one of the players from the Cloud9 roster that won Boston, he stayed on the longest. Then he stayed on Gen G the longest. Then he stuck with EG the longest. You know, he's somebody that if you sign him, he's going to really stick around, give it a shot, even when the ship starts falling apart. So I hope we don't lose him. You can't blame him for going though at this point. You know, some people see Valorant and it's just like it's the V word. You know, you don't say that. And but if you come for over Autimatic, I mean, he's given 110% to CS for so long. A lot of people are not super happy with the state of CS2 from a few different angles. I think the game is a lot better than it was a few months ago. And I think the core game is enjoyable for sure. And the movement is getting better and all this stuff. But there's still some other stuff they need to build, which sometimes it's just the community needs to build stuff for KZ and Surf and things like that. So it's a matter of waiting. And I don't think not everybody wants to wait right now. So yeah, it's not as, I think it's much more polished. I think it's impressively polished for how little time it's been out. But at the same time, if you're a professional player, you're playing for money, you need it to be 100% good. So I can understand the frustrations. The sentiment around CS2 has improved when it comes to pro players. I asked everybody when I was at the Blast World Final, what do you think about CS2? Everything. Generally, the sentiment is good, especially on LAN. But playing online qualifiers, playing RMRs, playing on grinding again, well, that's where it gets just a bit more icky. All right, so I think I want to pretty much end there on news. I don't know if there's any more. I'll definitely do I will do a commentary on the HLTV Top 20 when it's finished on the 13th. Okay, the day after, I will do a commentary on the Top 20, and I will talk about what I like, what I don't like, and of course, I think a lot of people really want to know what my opinion is on that, at least on this channel. I'll just say right now as a teaser, of all the years that I've done simultaneous top 20s, companion top 20s, again, not to be compared in terms of like the logic they use, but like this one, since I'm pretty familiar with how HLTV make picks and what I could expect for them to make picks, probably better than the average person, this is the craziest year. In my opinion, the worst year in terms of how accurate things are on a statistical basis, it's hard to say exactly what the criteria is when you look through the list on this year. So I've got a lot to say about it. I'll bring it up. But, all due respect, of course, because they are the reason that I made my list. And I think it's great to generate these conversations. Nobody's list is going to be loved all the way through. There's always going to be points to fight on. So yeah, listen, 2023 was the best year of my life. It's like a meme. I got an amazing girlfriend. I went to all these places. I really took advantage of every moment. Whether it's the boxer store, casting a major final in Paris with my French co-commentator, whether it was getting nominated for HLTV Town of the Year or Esports Color Commentator of the Year, and being able to go there to this very special event with all the people that I love, or releasing this, working really hard on this boxer release and coming up with this, incredible release, and going to TI with Taylor and Lydia and my best friend in real life, Daniel, and all the different trips that it took. Like, this I went to Zippel's wedding this year. I mean, in Florence, Italy, Hawaii at the beginning, Paris major. The photographer that took this photo to commemorate, us as casting this major final with all the cell phones behind us, and then printing these out and giving them to us, and then doing stuff with ASON this year. This is the fan meetup that we did with at the Paris major. Everyone came through. I did 2 watch parties with Rivalry this year that were amazing to help build up the North American scene, Toronto scene, which is something I personally I want to help with so much. And the fact that Rivalry enabled me to do that, I just feel very blessed to be able to say I can. I mean, what can I say? It was a dream year. It was a movie year. And I'm probably jinxing it, but who knows how many great years that you have like that. And I've had some pretty bad years, so I do want to celebrate the times that are good. Doing this YouTube channel has been fantastic with Vivid. Everything he's edited has been great. I love doing so many of the commentary videos. I love doing the top 20 this year, even though some people didn't like the half scripted part. I actually preferred this year more than any of the other ones. This year I'm going to be coming forward with a mantra of quality over quantity. So, less frequency is going to be a big thing for me. But it's going to be the same frequency. It's going to be a video a week, which is pretty much what I was going for last year. It's going to try to bring in all of the concepts and video ideas that I used before that I really like, and then just doing them again this year, but then trying to add in a new one. I have a couple of interesting thoughts, but I haven't actually picked a really good format. But I've always found that if I take time to think about the format a lot, I eventually come up with a golden idea. And that's been how I start the year. And I haven't done that yet. So I'm going to give that more thought. But yeah, quality over quantity. I've been thinking a lot about how to become the best commentator that I can be, how to become the best YouTuber that I can be, how I can become the best friend that I can be. And overall, I'm very proud of myself for what I did in 2023. And I usually keep my resolutions private, but I executed on a lot of things that took a lot of effort, personally, as well as just like physically and everything. So yeah, listen, I'm not trying to be advice bro out here, but I did this before I read this, and I read that recently, that all you have to do to like elicit a change in yourself is to think about it, and eventually it'll start to manifest in the habits that you have, and then it'll create real change in you physically or mentally. And I knew that a long time ago, and ever since I was probably 16, I would think about someone like my friend who I admired a quality about them, and I wouldn't tell them, but if they're older than me, I would say, oh, okay, I'm 16, they're 18. And back then, every year, you're sort of like lining up with your friends, where now I'm 33, and there's people are in such different places in 33, like the whole spectrum, so it doesn't really work. But the younger you are, the more easy it is to compare yourself, whether that's bad or good. And I used to say, if he's 18, okay, I'm going to be better than him in these 2 ways by the time I'm 18. That's my goal. I don't have to be mad at myself or jealous. I just need to say, okay, I have 2 years before I can say I really didn't do what I wanted to do. And I always beat them, in my own head. So I think that's a strategy that's worked really well for me. I think I've generated a lot of momentum by talking to only quality people, and that's also a privilege, because even the people you work with, you can't always choose to work with people you like. And sometimes it's better to work with people who are good at their job than it is to work with people you like. But all that's to say is I think I've generated a lot of momentum by working with people I enjoy, making things that I own myself, keeping my side projects alive while I do a job that can easily distract me away from that, which is traveling to cast, which is hard in and of itself. And I would just say, if I would recommend that to other people. At least that's what I've learned so far, that's worked for me. So yeah, yeah. I don't know. These days, it feels like everyone's looking for a lot of like growth and innovation and like conquest in life, but it really feels like we actually just need more, kindness and compassion, as well. As well. I would say I'm definitely of like a growth mindset. I always have been, but I think, in my opinion, you got to do everything right. Whatever you have time to do, you can do. You should do, interpersonally, or whether it's improving your work ethic or learning new skills or trying to find time or figuring out what you want to do next. Try to do everything as much as possible. Why am I ending on that note? Okay, sorry. I don't want to make this about being on the grind set, okay? But I'll just say that I just listened to this philosophy podcast, and analogy that was used, what was his name? Stephen West on Philosophize This. And he says, like, every time you leave a banana peel on your car seat in the passenger seat and you don't take it, then the next time it becomes harder to pick that up. So try to pick up the banana peel that's in your car seat so that all the hard things in your life become easier, right? Because it can't be true that the people who are doing so much every day are struggling as much as we are to get those little things done all the time, right? Just try to build some good habits. Why am I turning into it? But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. That was news. I will see you guys in the next video. I got to shut myself off before I keep talking. What's coming up next is, I don't know, maybe some demo reviews. You let me know in the comments. All right. If you're sticking around to this point, just say banana, and then I'll read your comment twice to make sure that because I know you're a real, true day oneer. Okay. All right. Take care, everybody.